All right, is everybody ready for some Heritage Baseball? We are doing the back half of a case that we started, Wednesday night, I guess, when it first came out. So we're going to finish up that case that we started on Wednesday tonight. And as we typically do before we break, a little bit of information to go over to make sure that we are all happily on the same page. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So feedback. My feedback is automated on eBay. Anytime that you leave positive feedback for me, you are instantly going to get the same in return. And of course, far more importantly there, I can speak occasionally, is to say thank you. I always appreciate you being here, bidding, breaking, chatting, and hanging out with me. Next, we're taking a look at what's coming up in the days ahead. So this stuff is already listed on eBay. We're going to be breaking it over the next several days. So tomorrow night, Sunday night, is actually an off night. But Monday night, we'll come back and break a 12-box case of Plates and Patches football, which might be the last of the Plates and Patches for this year, I think. Tuesday night, we'll break a 12-box case of Select football. XRC Redemptions, a separate bidding category in that break. Wednesday night, there's new release stuff on Wednesday, 3 things. We're going to break all of it, starting a little bit early at 8:45 Eastern. A full case of Encased football, half case of Select basketball, and a half case of Donruss baseball. Even doing those two, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Base card heavy products by the half case instead of the full case, we're still probably looking at a break that's around 3 hours, I'm guessing. So, it'll be a long one. And then Thursday night will be an off night because I will be recovering from Wednesday. And I'll also have all kinds of sorting to do. So, yeah, Thursday night will be an off night. All right, here's what you need to know for tonight. This is expected to ship by Wednesday. So sometimes I get things out a little sooner, and if I'm able to get it out sooner than that projected date, of course I will happily do so. And occasionally something comes up and it doesn't go out as quickly as I would like, in which case it could be a day later on Thursday. But my projected date is Wednesday, and I'm hopeful that we can hit that, if not sooner. So that's kind of the plan. And every team is going to pull cards in here, so we don't need to worry about consolation cards in this particular break. It is a 6-box half case break of 2020 Heritage Baseball. This is break number 2. It ended on eBay tonight, same night we're breaking it. A leap year, no less. So Saturday the 29th of February. Yeah, nice little leap day break. Team names are on the left-hand side. Winning bidders are across from each team there on the opposite side. And I think that's all the news to use here before we actually get started tonight. One final little piece of business here. I am changing up the focus, and that's why your background is getting blurry. That is intentional, so please don't let that concern you. We should be all good to go there. And James and Kirk are in chat. Hi, James and Kirk. Now, since this is the back half of a case, we don't have to do the deal where we take them out, number them on the end, figure out which ones we're going to open and all that stuff, because we did that when we started the case. So these are the 6 remaining boxes. As you can see, we are looking for 1 autograph or relic card in every box. We will also find a box loader in every one. There's 2 or 3 different designs that can be. And then, of course, we're also looking for short prints and things of that nature, which generally fall about 1 per box, or 1 per box as well. Now, sometimes those short prints are easy to catch. Other times, I might not notice it when it goes through. So if you notice it and I haven't noticed it, feel free to flag it and let me know that you saw one go by, and I'll go back and revisit it. And ditto if you see me pass an autograph, because these have facsimile autographs printed on them. So every once in a while, a real autograph blends in and I don't see it first pass through. Not until I get to the end of the box and I realize, hey, where's our hit? And then you got to go back and look for it. So last time there was one that went right past me, and somebody saw it and flagged it, and I was most grateful because we were able to catch it pretty quickly and find it pretty easily without having to go back through everything. So this is an example of one of the type of box floaters we can find. It's called Baseball's Greatest Moments. You've got Christian Yelich for the Brewers on there. So our first box floater going to Milwaukee. And I'm trying to think what else there is to know about here. There are some chrome inserts that we will probably find. Excuse me. There are two versions. There's one that is numbered to 999. The other one is numbered to 571. So those will pop up. There are, of course, other inserts in here, some numbered, some not, that we'll notice as we get to them. We're going to find, well, that's actually both for the Twins because that's Rookie Stars. But there are also cards in here that feature multiple teams, our league leader cards. And all of those, if I catch them going through, I'll set them aside up there in our housekeeping area. We use random.org at the end of the break to figure out how all of those multi-team cards will be distributed. And what else am I forgetting? I'm sure there's other stuff, but we'll talk about it as we come along and find it. So Heritage has, as you can see, a lot of base in it. Way too much base to make me happy, actually. But anyway, for these first few breaks, we are shipping all the cards. Now that's probably going to change in some future breaks where veteran base won't ship in some future breaks. Again, it does tonight, but it won't always. I'm telling you this for the purposes of making sure that you always look at the listing description down there in the part where it lists the break date and time and the product name and quantity and all that. Whenever there's something out of the ordinary, like veteran base not shipping or whatever the case may be, it's always going to state it down there in that same little area. Because I figure even if people aren't looking at the whole thing, they're usually at least scrolling to find the date and the time and all that stuff. So that's the reason we usually drop it in down there in that area. Here, right off the bat, is an example of one of our league leader cards that I was talking about before. So since those have two different teams on them, there are 2 or 3 different versions of those as well. They're all, each of those versions with multiple teams will just set up there at the top. All right, so I think we are underway. You got the Royals tonight, James? All right, my friend, we will do our best to try and pull some for you. And this is a New Age Performers insert. Chances are we're going to find quite a few of those as well. There are plenty of these too that are our various games leading up to and including the World Series. Those largely end up going to the Nationals and the Astros, although there are a few for the Yankees. And there's a tribute set in here for the Giants, so there's going to be lots of Giants. Another example of a multi-team card that we'll set up there in housekeeping while we figure out what we want to do with it. Rookie Stars, of course, share a card. Most of the short prints we will find will be action image variations. There are possible other cards with nicknames on them rather than regular names, with a special color for the team name, like a silver color, and throwback uniforms. That's another possibility. Most, like the throwback and the error cards and the nickname cards, those are all really rare. But the action image variations are the ones we usually find. And they will state what they are on the back. When we find our first one, I'll let you know, and you'll understand better what I'm saying. But you know, in past years, we've had to rely on looking at that little code sometimes. They've done away with that little code this year. So it just states it on there, whatever kind of card it is. Then and Now, that's another example of a multi-team card, of which we will find plenty. So All those multi-teams just continue to stack up there in the same spot. That could be action, is it? No, it isn't. It looked like it could be, but it wasn't. That is the thing about Heritage. It does take me a few passes through breaking it and sorting it before I can catch all those right offhand. Some of them will still have to flip along the way to make sure that we know what's what. More future stars. Nope, not on row mine either. All right, there's a lot to look for on Heritage cards. You're looking to spot so many different possible things. I think that's why sometimes things get by me the first time, because I'm checking to see, is it a nickname? Is it an error? Is it a throwback jersey? Oh, missing facsimile signature. That's another type of short print, you know, and then you're looking, is it action image? And I think that's honestly sometimes why I don't catch the obvious stuff like the autographs. So flashbacks, some of them will have the team on them, like this, obviously, baseball player on the front there and team listed on the back. That's an easy one, goes to that team. But there are also flashbacks that have nothing to do with baseball, that talk about news events from 1971. And if we were to find some of those, which we will, they will also go up there into housekeeping, and we will, of course, use random.org to award those at the end of the night, too. So all kinds of stuff going on in here. All right, looks like our hit out of box number 1 is a relic for Michael Conforto. We do have a little pinstripe on it, which is nice. And, of course, that's going to the Mets with our Clubhouse Collection relic. So that's our first hit of the night. So what we're looking for now in this box is maybe a short print or some kind of insert parallel, like this one. That is a chrome insert parallel of Christian Yelich for the Brewers, and this one is numbered to 999. And the silver version, we haven't obviously seen one yet, but we probably will. It's the silver version that's numbered to 571. And I'm still just continuing to check some of these that I think look like they could be, but short prints, action image variations, but so far haven't been. But if we don't catch them going through the first time, if I don't catch it and you don't catch it, then hopefully I can find it when I'm sorting. So, but the goal, of course, is to catch it going through the first time. Although we have flipped a bunch and yet to see it. Of course, it's not absolutely guaranteed that there's one per box. I think technically the deal is that that's just a different type of insert. Technically the deal is that it's one every 27 packs, and of course there's 24 packs in a box, so you're not totally guaranteed to find one in every box, but yet we usually do. Just haven't seen it yet. So there's a flashback, of course, that has nothing to do with baseball. That's the type I was talking about earlier. So random.org will find a home for that later. And Max Scherzer, no. There's another then and now. No. I know, I keep flipping them all now because we're kind of near the end and I haven't seen anything that looks like our action image yet. So, like, where was it? Was it not in here? I don't know. But we haven't seen it yet. So, all right, let me just do a quick little, I'm kind of doing a quick little flip back through this whole stack. And I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed one in there. So bear with me for a second. I'm doing a speed flip here to try and see if we did have any kind of an SP in this box. I certainly thought we would, but so far, no. All right, still looking. It would be helpful if they would just tell you for sure, like, yeah, it's 1 in every 24 packs. Then you know it's 1 per box. It's that 1 in every 27 that gets you, because you think, well, was it really not in there? Or was it in there and I missed it? So that's why I want to know if I missed it. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you right now. So I'm doing a spot check here. And so far not, but there's one tiny little stack left to look at and make sure on, that we don't have anything overlooked. And so far, no. Because sometimes it can also be a rookie that is not really an action shot, but they still call it an action image variation because most of the rookies are paired up on those rookie cards with their rookie teammates. Nope, there wasn't one in there. All right, so I went back through all that for nothing. But anyway, there wasn't one. Now we know for sure. And I did go back through there for nothing. Oh well. Live and learn, right? Hot stove, we had the Mets hit, of course, out of the first box, was the relic, but we're only 1 box in, so we haven't really seen much yet. And as you probably just heard, I went back through because I didn't see a short print going through it the first time, so I just went back through it all real quickly on a quick little sort, looking at the back that time, and there wasn't any short print in that first box, so that's kind of a bummer. Our box loader is once again a greatest moments. Clemente comes out on this one for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And now the long drawn out part. Everything has to come out of the packs. Takes a long time to extract it all, unfortunately. It takes a while. Kevin, what are you at? What did you say? I don't know what you're talking about in regard to National Treasures and Immaculate. Like, I don't know what you're talking about with that. I don't have any NT or Immaculate breaks scheduled, so I'm not sure what the question is there. You may have to rephrase that. I'm a little dense tonight. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, guys, as I said at the top of the break, and as it says in the description, all the cards ship except for the cards that have multiple teams on them, which have to be distributed differently. And of course, that again is listed in the listing description and explains it all. And as I was mentioning a couple minutes ago, anytime it varies from all card shipping, it's always going to say it in the description in the very same place every single time, which is down in the part where it gives you the date and time of the break and the quantity and the name of the item and all that fun stuff. If there's ever anything different, that is where it's going to tell you if veteran base doesn't ship, etc. So in the absence of that, that's why it says unless otherwise stated in there, in the absence of a disclaimer statement telling you something doesn't ship, then yes, it does, with the exceptions that I mentioned. So the multi-team cards and that sort of thing, no, that's different. Those have different teams on them. So every card that is a Met doesn't necessarily go to the Mets because there are probably Mets on those multi-team cards. So this one, we're not going to miss our action image variations coming out right there at the top. And this is what I was talking about. Any of our short prints, you see how it says action up there? If that were a throwback jersey or whatever it was, it would say whatever it was right there above that picture. That's new this year. And that, of course, was Juan Soto and the Nationals. So we've seen our SP for this box. Now we're looking for our hit and possibly any other variations that might be lucky enough to find their way in here tonight. which hopefully there will be. They kind of owe us one, right? Since we didn't have one in the last box, I feel like they owe us two in this one, don't you think? One would hope, anyway. One would hope. So, Kevin, it's your first time here. Who do you have tonight? Who's your team, man? We'll try to fire up some first-time mojo for you and see if we can't work some magic maybe for your team tonight since you're first in with us. Of course, we want everybody to do well, but, you know, there is something to be said for first-time mojo. I don't know. Sometimes it works really well. Matthew, Brewers, I'm sure we've seen Brewers of various types, but the only one that I can tell you off the top of my head is, of course, the Chrome Parallel that we pulled a while ago. So we have seen that. And then as a reminder, we will recap our hits at the end of the break. So any numbered cards, autograph cards, or relics, we will recap at the end of the break. After we handle all that stuff up there, all that we'll have to use random.org to take care of first. Find it a home. Just an insert there for the Cubs with Almora. So, yeah, so Matthew, I see you typed in there. I'm just now catching up on chat. I think I saw your earlier question about the Brewers, so I think we're squared on that now, right? It takes a minute for it to show up on my side, but also because I'm multitasking, I don't always look over there right at the exact time, so sometimes it does take me a minute to look over there and see something. Gleyber Torres for the Yankees with a pinstripe relic, Clubhouse Collection relic, is our hit out of box number 2. Another home run leaders. There are lots of those kind of cards in here, which is always the case. But we have figured out a pretty efficient way to do it. So it shouldn't take us too long when it comes time to award those. And while I am thinking about it, if we pull any Expos tonight, the Expos of yesteryear are the current Washington Nationals. So that's another thing that down there, I know there's a lot in that listing, but they're down in that special circumstances area. That's the place where we talk about all this sort of stuff. So basically the information you need to know is that a card always stays with its franchise, even if the franchise relocates and renames. So, for instance, the Expos being the current Nationals, any Expos that we might pull would go to the Nationals and that sort of thing. I think most people probably do their breaks the same way, but maybe not everybody, but I'd say the majority of breakers do. And then, of course, like the New York Giants, that's the current San Francisco Giants, and trying to think who else we might run across in here. We could run across one that said Milwaukee Braves, and they are the current Atlanta Braves. I doubt we would find anybody outside of those 3 teams in here. There are, of course, plenty of other franchise rename and relocation stories to tell, but they just aren't necessarily in this product. So kind of just dealing with what we have in front of us tonight. Kevin, you have got the Blue Jays in here. All right, my friends, let's try and get some mojo fired up for your Blue Jays. I like your team right now. You've got a really nice young core of guys. I like Bichette and Biggio and, of course, Vlad Jr. Even though Vlad didn't quite play up to everybody's expectations, he was pretty hyped when he came up. He's going to be really good. I mean, he was good last year, but I think long term, he's going to be really good. And, of course, Biggio and Bichette look good. It's just a nice young core in Toronto right now. Rizzo for the Cubbies, and another greatest moments. That explains why we only pulled one in the first half of this case, because they're all in the second half of this case. So, yeah. The other possible box loaders that we can pull, we haven't seen them yet, but we probably will before we're done. One of them is called the Super Baseball card. It's similar in size to the Greatest Moments that we've seen come out so far tonight, but it is just, it's a different design. It just looks like a regular baseball card, but bigger, sort of. And then we can also find buybacks in here. And the buybacks are original cards from 1971 that Topps buys back and puts a little foil stamp on them to update them and slaps them in there. And you'll definitely know if we have one of those because they're just, well, they are real cards from 1971. So they look like all the others did back then. They are terribly miscut and off-center usually. They're pretty well loved. I've seen them come out before, creased even. Oftentimes they've got rounded corners and chipping and edge wear. And I mean, you see them come out in all kinds of ways. But of course, the cool part of it is that they have been rolling around in circulation since 1971, which is older than some of us, right? Not older than all of us, but older than some of us. So, I don't know. Some people like those buybacks better than others, but I think they're kind of fun to look at anyway. Certainly to compare, and as to what we have these days, there is, well, no comparison. Because they're all like diced up and, I mean, they're, whew, yeah, they're bad, bad. I don't see how they ever had a card from that era that would have graded anything above like a 2. Of course, some were always better than others, but you know what I mean. It was a rough way to go back then. All right, so we are, of course, starting a new box, so we're looking for our hit, and we're also hoping somewhere along the way here to see our little short print show up, we hope, and whatever else this box wants to give us. We hope something else interesting, anyway. Beyond just that. So I think it's kind of fun that way. Ooh, hang on a second. No, that's Iglesias. Okay. I think it's kind of fun that we're into the 70s. I like some of the weird card designs that were from the 70s, you know? So I'm kind of jazzed that we're getting ready to spend the next several years working through the 70s in Heritage. So this is an example of the Silver Chrome parallel, Kevin Pillar and the Giants. It should be numbered to 571 on the back, and in fact we see that it is. So our Chrome out of box number 3 goes to the Giants. I guess we didn't have one in box number 2, did we? No, I guess we didn't. Another leaders up there, strikeout leaders that was. Every time I see that Tanaka, I want to flip it over and think it's an image variation. I'm starting to like stop myself, but yeah, I want to do that. It makes me, every time I see it, I feel like it should be one. I guess, well, no, I wanted to check that one, but we've checked Jose Ramirez before, haven't we? I think, yes. I know I've checked Kimbrel before he caught me the first time. As did Marisnik, so, yeah. You would definitely think, though, the ones that are not portraits, that are actually action shots, you'd naturally tend to think those are going to be image variations, right? But most of the time they're not. Even though the vast majority of the cards are not structured like that. They're portrait cards mostly. But who knows why Topps does what they do. right. Onward and upward we go here. We have not yet seen our hit. We'll just check Mercado now. Or our short print. There's our short print. Alex Bregman and the Astros with the action image variation. All right, so now we're looking for our relic or autograph from this box. I just today finished sorting the first go-round of Heritage. Man, I had forgotten how long it takes to sort. In fact, I had planned on getting that first go-round of Heritage out the door today, but I didn't have it ready to go in time for my pickup because it took a lot longer to sort than I remembered it taking. Whew, yeah. It can be a long one. All right, there's our hit. I was beginning to get nervous and think, oh my gosh, did I somehow miss another signature? Didn't see it go through or something like the other night. But no. We have Wilson Contreras and the Cubbies with a Clubhouse Collection relic. So right now we are a relic out of each of our 3 boxes at the moment. That does put us at the halfway point. So we've opened 3. We have 3 left to go. Gina, you remembered you bid on something and then you remembered to pay on time. But this is the product you hate, isn't it, Gina? Don't you hate this product because it has so much base? No. It's Allen and Genter that you hate. That's right. Never mind. I remember that now. You hate that one because it's got all that other stuff in it that isn't baseball related. I remember now. It just took me a minute. I had to think for a minute. I knew there's one you hated, and you told me to always remind you that you hate it, but it's not this one. All right, so our box loader is one of the anniversary cards that I was telling you about, and as you can see, it's really well loved. It is rounded corners. It's got all kinds of chipping and wear and craziness going on, and on top of that, it's a checklist. Because honestly, that's a lot. I prefer them to be players. That's a little slightly more boring, but we get what we get, and that was our box loader there. Gina, we haven't hit any Marlins, I don't think. We've only had a couple of short prints, and they were not Marlins. We've had a couple of chrome, and I don't think they were Marlins. And none of our hits have been. This is one of those 1 hit per box kind of deals, so yeah. Hot stove, yeah, we'll recap at the end. For sure we will. But yeah, I really just, I underestimated how long it was going to take to sort this. I had just forgotten from last year. I thought that might be an action. I just was sitting on top. I thought I'd look while it was sitting there. It wasn't. It always takes a lot longer to sort it and get it ready to ship than it does to break it. So when something takes an hour or an hour and a half, anywhere in that range to break, it's probably going to take 3.5, 4 hours to get it sorted and ready to ship, sometimes more. So I was kind of right on both counts then. It's Allen and Genter that you hate, but you also dislike Heritage. Okay, so see, I wasn't too far off there. I wasn't totally off the mark then. Yeah, Heritage is, it's a great set. I love the card designs, the throwback card designs. They're a lot of fun. And when you get some of the Real One autographs, some of them can be really good. I mean, you know, Mike Trout and those guys are in here too. In fact, I pulled a Mike Trout out of a Heritage High Number case a year or two ago. Man, was that person happy. Because, you know, it was pre-Shohei Ohtani, so the Angels weren't selling for much. And he pulls a Mike Trout red ink out of there. It was pretty sweet. But it is definitely rough when you are used to having lots of hits, which is how we're all conditioned these days. We're conditioned to look for and expect lots and lots and lots of hits. So when instead we get lots and lots and lots of base, well, that can be kind of frustrating, right? I think that's why a lot of people don't like this set, really, is for that reason. Will Smith, no, I know I flipped a bunch of things there. Thinking one of them might be our little SP. It's much easier when there are not so many things to be... Oh, nice, a little New Age Performers, Yordan Alvarez. When there's not so many things to be looking for on one card. But they have a lot of possible variations in this set. To 571, Trey Turner and the Nationals Chrome Parallel. You know, the bad thing is, I shouldn't even admit this, but I will. For a long time, for several years, it did not occur to me that the reason it's numbered, say, for instance, to 571 or 569 or 5 whatever odd number is because it's matching up with the year of the card design. Do you know, it took me like probably 3 or 4 years before I realized that. Is that awful? It's awful. I know it is. Why do I say things like that? Admit things like that? I shouldn't, but I did. So sometimes something is so obvious, but yet it just goes right over my head. I'm thinking about so many other things. But now we know, of course. Continuing to sort out our various multi-team cards. Now, if I were to miss any of those and they were to get stacked instead with the regular cards over there, not to worry. The way I give them out, the way we use random to award them, it will still be super easy to figure out where something would go if I found it in the stack. Because basically we give it to just positions on the card. So like the team on the right, team on the left, team in the middle, you know, that sort of thing. So that's done really in case I forget and stack something somewhere else, whatever it might be. Then that makes it a little easier because we'll know exactly how to sort it as we come across it, of course. Oh, Gina, you're looking for the quarter cards. Yeah, you know what? The coin cards are fun. They have those in Heritage Minor League, too. I always have better luck hitting them in Heritage Minor League, frankly. In fact, you can usually find some in Minor League. It's harder to find them in full-on regular Major League Heritage. At least it is for me, anyway. But yeah, those can be fun if you get lucky enough to find one. Oh, Evel Knievel. You guys remember Evel Knievel? He used to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Is he still alive? I think he is, but I wouldn't swear to it. They had a documentary about him not too awfully long ago. Within the last few years about all the stuff he used to do. You remember he would jump over big long lines of cars lined up, stacked up, whatever. Jump over the Grand Canyon, all kinds of interesting things. This one heads to the Phillies. It is a Clubhouse Collection relic for JT Realmuto. You said, is this the stuff with the short print? Are the ones with the guys smiling or they have no shoelaces? The short prints in this one are usually like an action variation. Now, the other thing it can be, well, there's several other things it can be in here. It can be a throwback jersey. It can be an error card. It can be a nickname card. So there's lots of different possibilities. It can be just a certain rookies split out from their rookie team cards, even though they're not even though they're not doing anything action related, it will still say action on it as the type of variation for the rookies. So it can be like one of several different things, but what it is most often is the action image. I mean, most of the time, the variations we find would be that. If you do get lucky enough to find a throwback uniform in particular, yeah, that can bring some big money. Some big, nice money if we get lucky enough to hit some of that. All right, so we are headed into, what is this, box number 5, I guess. We've done 4. We have 2 left to go. Matthew, we have had all relics so far. Yeah, we haven't seen an autograph come out yet tonight. It's been a relic kind of night and mostly a greatest moments for box loaders. We had one that wasn't greatest moments. That was the buyback card I showed you a minute ago, or a few minutes ago. But all the others have been greatest moments tonight, so. Chris Bryant and the Cubs. But you never know. It is a product that often has mostly relics. I mean, there are autographs in here, of course. We pulled some out of the first part of the case, but there's also a lot of relics in this product. This is, I guess this and Archives and Heritage High Number, they're probably the ones with the least amount of hits that we open all year, really. Because the flagship, I don't open the hobby. I only open the jumbo version. And the jumbo version has more hits. Although this is looking like this might be a hot box. We might have a bunch of chrome parallels in here. I'm not certain that we do, but I thought I saw the edges of more than one. And if so, we might have a little hot box action going on. I think we do. So I think we're going to have purple chrome coming out in here, which should be about 1 per pack if it's a hot box, and I believe it is. So that makes things a little nicer for this group. Of course, we always use random.org to divvy up the boxes in a case when we start a new case and we don't open the whole case in the same sitting. I'm going to go ahead and pull that. It landed on top. So usually you would think random would kind of help even out the distribution of various things, but sometimes it doesn't. You know, like relics versus autographs and that sort of thing. But Hotbox will help make up for some things. Alright, let's go ahead and grab that strikeout leaders that's mocking me up there on the top. We'll get rid of it off the bat. So yeah, sure enough, our hot box. So purple chrome parallels, should be one per pack, and they are not numbered, but you do only find them in the hot box. So it's definitely not as common as the others, even though they aren't numbered. Pujols and the Angels. Gina, you said watch out for Vermont in the tournament. I haven't seen Vermont. I don't even know anything about Vermont this year. What are they ranked? What do they look like? What's going on with them? Tell us. Inquiring minds want to know. We might want to run off and lay some money on them. You got to give us the inside scoop. That's Pete Alonso and the Mets. Of course, you know I'm not really going to go against my Kentucky Wildcats, even the years where I think that, oh, well, we might not actually win. I still can't go against them. Because I just feel guilty if I do. I feel like I got to ride with my guys, you know. Good, bad, and ugly. A Clubhouse Collection relic for the Astros with Justin Verlander. Cody Bellinger is our purple chrome. Juan Soto for the Nationals. Yeah, my Wildcats beat Auburn today, thank goodness, because Auburn socked it to us down there. We owed them a little payback, and boy, I wasn't sure for a while today if we were going to get it or not. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Blue Jays. So I was relieved to win that game. It gives us a little bit of breathing room in the sense that we locked up the regular season title for the SEC, so at least we'll get a 1 seed in the tournament, or we should. So that'll help things out a little bit. Trey Turner, Nationals. Purple parallel again. You said they are 23-7. They've been hanging around the top 40 all year. You're thinking an 11-13 seed, which would be your best ever. All right, well, cool. You know, 11s and down in that area, 11, 12, 13, there's a lot of upsets that can happen down in that part of the tournament. So you sometimes see teams in that range of seeding end up making a kind of a deep run. Olsen for the Oakland A's. So, all right, Gina, I'll make sure and keep an eye out for them come tournament time. We'll check out your boys, see what they got, see what they're bringing. Rockies and Nolan Arenado. I am sure that it'll be fun. My man Nick Senzel for the Cincinnati Reds. With a little purple. J.D. Davis and the Mets. Oh, you got a guy that's going to be drafted. Nice. Or they expect to be drafted. Late second round. Who is it? What's his name? Yeah, it's funny how over the years that's kind of been the thing that schools become really proud of. Almost as proud of how many draftees you have as how many championship banners you hang. Not quite as much, but getting there. Yastrzemski and the Giants. I think for UK that really started with Calipari because that's his end-all be-all is, you know, he wants to get these kids drafted, and he counts that every bit as important as a championship. So I think he's retrained us down here to start thinking along those lines. White Sox. Of course, it's never going to be as good as winning the NCAA. There's no way it's ever going to be as good as winning the tournament. But that having been said, it is still fun. Tatis and the Padres. His name is Anthony Lamb. Okay, all right. Well, Anthony Lamb, let's hope we get him in there then. Let's hope he gets drafted. Vermont's first draft pick would be very cool. Astros, Carlos Correa. And usually stuff like that helps your program a lot too, because kids realize, hey, I can go there and still get drafted, even if it's a smaller market, smaller school, that sort of thing. So it helps when you get to the tournament and you get people drafted with recruiting. Marte and the Diamondbacks. So that would be good for Vermont. There's our Dodgers rookies, Dustin May and Gavin Lux in the hot box purple parallel. And a Josh Bell for the Pittsburgh Pirates with a nice purple. And the Orioles with Trey Mancini. Scherzer and the Nats. That's some league leaders kind of stuff again. Astros and Springer. There are tons of Astros in this product. So many. When I was sorting the first break today, the stack for the Astros was enormous. The Rays and Charlie Morton. There's another flashbacks non-baseball related. Xander Bogaerts, Red Sox. Mike Soroka for the Atlanta Braves. Now I will look for short prints again as I'm sorting, because really I feel like we should have hit more than what we've seen tonight, or what we've seen going through this live. So I will double check all of that, of course, before it goes out the door. When I'm sorting it, we'll do another pass through and make sure. I found a couple, actually. Found two more out of the first break. One of them was Aquino. It was an Aristides Aquino rookie card for the Reds. I've already forgotten what the other one is. But there were a couple that we hadn't seen, that I didn't catch live, and nobody watching caught live either. And I caught it when I was sorting, so one way or another, you'll get it anyway, since they all ship, but it's always best if we can see it and call it as it goes through. Speaking of the Reds, there is a 1971 card for the Reds that also well loved. Many creases and rounded corners, and not creases, but chipping and rounded corners, and you know, well loved, well traveled for the Cincinnati Reds. That was our last box loader. You said he scored 30. Oh my gosh, in a 61-55 loss to Virginia. So he scored more than 50% of the points for the entire team. Holy cow. Man, they're working that kid to death. And you've had 12 straight 20-win seasons. Well, that's quite good. I'm surprised you haven't had anybody tournament bound before. Or higher seeded, I guess I should say. Because you didn't say you hadn't been in the tournament before. You just said that would be your highest seed if you would get there in the 11-12 range. Tell you what, I'm grabbing that one right now just because I see it there, and I know I'm going to have to move it up there anyway, so might as well just move it up there right now. Somebody just took off on me there. Who is this? Rookie stars for the Tigers. I don't think we're any worse for the wear particularly, but a base card there for the Tigers did try to run away from me coming out of the pack. The highest you've had in the past is a 14 seed. Yeah, well, that would be a pretty good little jump then if you get up to 11 or 12, especially if you can get up to 11 or even 10. I mean, there's a lot of parity in college basketball this year. There's nobody that you look at and think, well, they're absolutely, unquestionably ahead of the pack. It's not the case. Everybody's kind of trading losses this year. I know everybody's thinking Kansas, but you know what? Kansas came within a whisker of losing to Kansas State today. I think they ended up winning by maybe 4 or something, but they barely hung on to win that game. And they've had, everybody's had losses this year. There's nobody undefeated. And a lot of them are, I think, pretty well matched. So the tournament ought to be kind of interesting this year, I would think. Anytime you have teams that are pretty even in performance, I think it makes for a more fun tournament. You don't have as many big upsets because you can't pick out anything that would be an upset because everybody's so well matched, but you get to see some really good close games a lot of times that way. So that's my vote. That's what I hope we find. So of course we are on our last box here, so we are definitely trying to work some last box mojo. There's our image variation, Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. So a little love for the Angels coming out of the last box. I think the Reds lost today. We're even losing in early preseason. Harsh. Because I think we got smacked around pretty good. I didn't see any of that. I just saw a score headline pop up on my iPad earlier, and I want to say the Padres pretty well beat us like a drum. I was like, oh, all right. Well, good to know. Good to know. We spent all this money on add all these old guys to the roster on short-term rentals and still get pounded into the ground in the preseason. Ay. But it's early yet, so I shouldn't be that way. But I tell you what, it is hard. It's hard work being a Reds fan. It's not easy. Numbered to 999, the Astros and Yuli Gurriel. But we'll see how the season shakes out. But I did not like seeing a score go by where we lost by a bunch. At least I was hoping they'd be closer scores. It doesn't always work that way, though, does it? And our final relic, or final hit for the night, is also a relic, but this one looks like a piece of the baseball bat. The others have been jersey pieces. It is for Charlie Blackmon and the Colorado Rockies. with a Clubhouse Collection relic. Little sliver of the baseball bat there. So we're going to, of course, look through the remainder of these cards here in my hand. And up there, too. After we do that, we will then go to random.org and we'll take care of all that housekeeping over there. Multi-team cards and the flashback cards that are events and not related to baseball teams. All that stuff we'll use random.org to find a home for it. After we do that, we will then recap our autographs, our relics, chrome cards, and image variations or other short prints that we found. So that's how it's going to roll here in the next few minutes. And then after we do the recap, I will once again put up the spreadsheet information so that you can see your anticipated shipping date. And we'll also take a look at what's coming up in the days ahead if you missed any of that at the start and you're interested in knowing about it. But first things first, we've got a whole stack of housekeeping things to deal with. So let's get those all situated up here. I'm going to go ahead and put the top one of each of them in a sleeve so that I can write on it. That will help me remember where they're to be sorted, which will make the sort a little faster and everybody's life a little easier because you'll get it faster. These guys I'm going to put in a team bag because there's quite a few of them. I'll show them to you first, then I'll put them in a team bag so I can write on the team bag. They are going to go as one group, one whole group to one team, okay? So this is flashbacks cards that do not have baseball teams or baseball players on them, all right? So that whole group of flashback cards, we're going to use random.org to award it to one team. Now here's how I do random. When we have 9 or fewer items in a list, I do random 3 different times, and it is only the third and final random that makes the determination. When we have 10 or more in a list, I do random 1 time. And wherever we end up after we do random, the person on top gets whatever is being randomed. So in this case, it's just a stack of flashback cards, meaning we're going to use all 32 teams in here, and there's only the 1 item in there, but there are 32 teams in the random. So that means we will be doing it 1 single time tonight. And then whoever ends up on the top of the list after we randomize will get that whole pack of flashback cards. All right, I got to get you over here where I am so that we are both on the same page at the same time. All right, and I'll scroll through here so you can see that all the teams were copied and pasted correctly from the spreadsheet. And good luck, everybody. Here we go. It comes up to the Astros. So the Houston Astros are going to get the little package of flashback cards. So, of course, they're in a team bag. I'm obviously writing on the outside of the team bag, not on the cards themselves, but rather the plastic bag. So the whole stack of flashback cards that are not baseball related headed to the Astros. We are next going to do this little stack of then and now cards. And, well, we'll look at them after we do it, I guess. I'm simply going to type in left side and right side. In this instance, we have only 2 items in our list, so we will be doing random 3 times. First 2 will not count. Only the third and final random will determine how that is going to be awarded. So let's go ahead and bring that up. All right, so first one doesn't count, second one doesn't count. Here comes our third and final. 3 times our date and time stamp brings us the right-hand side of the card. So once again, the one that is on the top, which is in a sleeve, I did not write on the card, but rather the sleeve to remind me so we know how this goes. So these will go to Nationals, Mariners, Brewers, Astros, White Sox, Astros, Mets, and Nationals accordingly. Now it says very similar situation here, except instead of being left and right, it's top and bottom. So same kind of rinse and repeat, except using top and bottom instead of left and right. All right, ignore the first one, ignore the second one. Here comes our final third one. 3 times our date and time stamp. It gives us the team on the bottom of the card. So the one that is in a sleeve, we'll just mark it up to set the record there. So we are talking about Tigers, Giants, Reds, Giants, Tigers, Tigers, Giants, Tigers, Giants, Reds. So that's how those go. Next up, we'll do this little stack. We're going to go top, lower left, lower center, lower right. All right, pay no attention to the first one or the second one. Here comes our third and final. There it says 3 times our date and time stamp. It gives it to the team on the top of the card. So we will, of course, look through this little bit here as well. So once again on the sleeve, not the card, of course. So these go Nationals, Royals, Nationals, Nationals, Royals, Nationals, Royals. That's how those go. Now we've got a big stack of cards up here. These are going to be entered as top, lower left, and lower right. Well, I know I've got a typo there, but you know what it means. All right, ignore the first one, ignore the second one. Here comes our third and final. 3 times date and time stamp. That also goes to the top of the card. Okay, so these are being awarded to Dodgers, Astros, White Sox, Mets, White Sox, Astro, Brewer, Met, Dodger, National, Met, White Sox, Astro, Brewer, Astro, Met, White Sox, Astro, Met, Astro, White Sox, Astro, White Sox, Met, Astro. All right, that is all of the housekeeping. So now we need to do a little recapping here. So let me get that stuff situated and we'll take a look at what we need to see from this. Our box loaders. We had an original 1971 card for the Reds, and as I noted originally, we've got rounded corners. It's not centered, it's miscut, it's got tons of chipping, edge wear. It's really well worn and well loved, and that is usually the case with the buybacks. The other buyback we had was a checklist, and similarly it is in, very, very well loved condition is the nice way to say it. Then we had some greatest moments for our other box loaders. Chris Bryant and the Cubs, Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs, And the Pirates, Roberto Clemente. The Brewers, and Christian Yelich. So those were our 6 box loaders for the night. Now let's take a look at our Chrome cards. So these are, we had the hot box, of course, so all these purple ones are hot box only. They are not numbered, but that is the only place you can get them. So Braves, Red Sox, Rays, Astros, Nationals, Orioles, Pirates, Dodgers, D-back, Astro, Padre, White Sox, Giant, Met, Red, Rocky, A's, Nats, Blue Jays, Nats, Dodgers, Mets, Angels, Brewers. Our regular Chrome cards to 571, the Nationals and Trey Turner. To 571, the Giants and Kevin Pillar. To 999, Christian Yelich and the Brewers. To 999, Yuli Gurriel and the Astros. Short prints, we found 3. I will double check through everything and make sure that there are not others hiding out somewhere, but we found 3 live in the product. They are Shohei Ohtani and the Angels with an action image variation, the Astros and Alex Bregman, action image variation, Juan Soto and the Nationals, action image variation. Our hits tonight, they were all relics, no autographs in here. Charlie Blackmon Clubhouse Collection relic for the Rockies. Verlander Clubhouse Collection relic, Astros. Realmuto Phillies Clubhouse Collection relic. The Cubbies with Contreras Clubhouse Collection relic. And Gleyber Torres for the Yankees with a little pinstripe Clubhouse Collection relic. And the Mets and Michael Conforto with a Clubhouse Collection pinstripe relic. All right, so that is the break. That is the recap as promised. I'm going to put up your shipping information and other information again right now. So if you did not watch the first part of the break, here is the chance to get the same information again on the back side. So everybody got cards in here. We don't need to worry about consolation cards for sure. Everyone pulled cards in this break. And I'm anticipating this to be out the door approximately Wednesday. If I can get it sent out sooner than that, I certainly will. And if something unexpected were to come up, or simply it takes longer than I think to get it ready to get out the door, sorting, etc., could always slide a day later into Thursday. That's why it says plus or minus a day up there. But right now, I expect it to be approximately Wednesday. Now, here is what we are looking like in the days ahead. So tomorrow night is an off night. On Monday night, we'll do a 12-box case of Plates and Patches football. On Tuesday night, a 12-box case of Select Football, XRC Redemptions, a separate bidding category in that one. On Wednesday, it is going to be a long break, probably 3 hours, maybe more than that. Yee, I know. So on Wednesday night, 3 new releases. We're going to break all 3 of them. We'll start a little bit early, not much, 8:45 Eastern, 5:45 Pacific start time. It's a full 8-box case of Encased Football, a 6-box half case of Select Basketball, and an 8-box half case of Donruss Baseball, which is really base card heavy. So that's the one that'll take like forever plus about 6 years. So however long you think forever is, add 6 years, and that's how long it'll take to do Donruss. And Thursday night will be an off night because I will have to sort all that stuff we break on Wednesday night. I know, right? All right, so that is it for me tonight, kids, and I am off tomorrow night. I'll be busily sorting and getting ready to ship tomorrow, but we won't be doing any breaks tomorrow night, so I will be back at it on Monday. If I don't see you again then, I hope you will come back and see me sometime soon. Meanwhile, enjoy what's left of our weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye now.